What's going on, everyone? Stress Your Tactical Ambitions. Today, I have my good friend Phil Toppino with WOFT, used to stand for West Orlando Firearms Training.
Yep.
But you've now changed it a little bit, now rebranded, and I think have gone in the right direction. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself, and then let's get into what the new WOFT stands for.
Absolutely. Phil Toppino. I am a father and husband now for 23 years as a husband, and I wanted to be my family's own first responder. And so I trained with many people around the country, and I wanted an experience that I didn't find for myself, so I created my own. Okay. So for the last 15 years, we've been doing organic scenario training, basically a fantasy shooting camp combined with scenario training. And it started off as West Orlando Firearms Training, but it's evolved into where our families train.
So a lot of people reach out to 221B Tactical for body armor solutions, and when they're civilians, they want backpack armor for their children, things like this. So when we deal with those people, almost always they're asking, where do we train for situations that may occur in our homes? We're seeing, and my background, law enforcement, we would see, I don't know how long, in other agencies, and sometimes our agency when we were busy, lead times for 911 response. So talk about some of what you do from the standpoint of getting families prepared. Not only, let's put outside the home for a second, inside the home. Most families, would you say, if an event occurred, there's someone trying to break into their home, something like that, they're going to call 911, but they don't know what the response time is for 911. In some cities, they're saying it's over 30 minutes. If someone's coming in to harm you, well, you're probably no longer going to be with us. So from that standpoint, what kind of training do you offer?
We specialize in real-life scenario safety and instruction. And a lot of people, the first question they ask is, what is real-life scenario safety and instruction? And I think of it like this. Every day, every one of us, we enter and exit scenarios. We go to gas stations. We go to grocery stores. We walk out to get the mail. And depending on where we live, there's a lot of transients and strangers that might approach us. When we live in our home and on a day-to-day basis, those are everyday situations. Yeah. And with the advent of cell phones, a lot of people are completely distracted in transitional spaces. Yeah. And so what we do is we learn and we focus on safety concepts that people can apply in their everyday lives. Because what happens if a stranger starts to follow you? What happens if a stranger approaches you? And now that situation, what if they become aggressive? And now that scenario turns into a situation. Yeah. And so we role play through attentive repetition. We use force science principles, and we build a perfect movie set, if you will, and then we can insert you in that. And then we, through attentive repetition, apply those safety concepts custom to who visits us. So it's a potentially life-changing situation to learn on a civilian standpoint how to practice something you never want to fail at. So it's the what-if game where you mentioned home self-defense. We want to teach you how to think with scenarios, and that way you can apply those concepts anywhere. And so scenario training is ideal because it teaches you how to think, not so much what to think, but how to think. Okay, so for a lot of the people that, let's say, are maybe even watching this or listening, you have scenarios there, and I've seen some video because some of my friends have come and trained with you. My good friend Rob from up north as well, and he's told me all about it. So walk people through. You're dealing with not just what would people think, the husband. No, you're bringing in the husband, the wife, the children, and then inserting them into situations that they could really be in as a family at some point, any day of the week, right? Whether they're going to the grocery store, the movie theater, whatever. So you've recreated these scenes, like you said, almost like a movie set, and now putting the whole family through it together to see how they would react and what they would need to do. No one wants a liability in that situation. Everyone wants to be an asset, or everyone should be an asset, right? So if I'm with my family, I don't want anyone in my family, at least if they know what to do, there'll be less of a liability. Yes. If they're completely clueless as to, if we're in a movie theater or we're in a diner and some crazy guy walks in with a gun,
I would want them to at least have a baseline idea of what they need to do, rather than to be clueless looking at me like, what do I do? So this is what you kind of run families through, right?
Everything starts with safety. First thing we do is we have the best equipment, we have safety protocol, and we set the stage. And then we insert you in the stage. We learn collectively. So, your kids, the retention rate goes to 600 to 700% when you're watching someone that you care about learn and apply safety concepts. So with us, it dawned on me many years ago that I could be trained and I could be highly trained, and I train with a lot of experts like yourself and everyone else, but my wife might not want to be there if the bathrooms aren't clean, and she might not want to be there if it's an alpha male kind of a thing, and everyone wants safety with or without a firearm. So there's a lot of places that you can't travel with a firearm, so it's more mindset training. So that's where the flashlight comes into play, other force multipliers, tools, but our first tool is to learn how to think critically while under stress. So then having the family join you, now it's something that you might apply safety concepts by yourself when you're going to a transitional space. But if I give you a loved one or a spouse, it changes dynamic. That is the big goal. I feel like everyone wants their family to be an asset.
Yeah.
Even if you break even, you can take care of yourself, but a liability, someone has to help you.
Yeah.
So our goal is to, through attentive repetition, show safety concepts, and then every day that you train with me, when you invest your valuable time, we want to make you a little better through the aggregation of marginal gain, and just make you a little better version of yourself every day. And collectively with the family, you apply those concepts differently. So if I have a family of 4, for example, I'll run dad by himself through the safety concepts. Mom and the kids are watching, learning from him. And then when I run mom by herself, because I want to teach everyone to think by themselves, and then I run the kids individually. We start at age 5 with stranger danger.
Wow.
Nowadays, it's like they might walk into a bathroom in a grocery store, and there's some weirdo in there, and it's like, that's not my dad, learning to use their voice.
Yeah.
So then, now that each one of them, we got to see how they apply those safety concepts individually. When it helps me customize the training to them further when I start saying, okay, mom, now you're with the kids, you're loading up at the grocery store. How do you get in? What's the best practice? How do you normally do it? And what we do differently than most any other places, since it's concept based, we have a playbook that, okay, we're going to try this and try this. But then once we get to learn you, your second scenario is based on what you did right on the first one and what you can do on the second one. So it becomes custom to you and your family, how you apply those concepts. So it's really organic, and it's potentially life-changing.
How's your response been from the spouses? Because I'll say it because most of the time we're hearing from the husbands.
Yeah.
The husbands are going for the training. And I'm sure that if a husband comes and does your training, which I know has happened, and they go back home, and they tell their wife and their kids, hey, we got to go back down here together, and what kind of responses have you seen coming from?
Fantastic question. As most of the time is, I'll go and I'll watch, but I don't need to go to ninja school. That's why I have you.
Right.
You're going to step in and save the day. And so we've backed into making it a fun learning experience that's empowering and inspiring for them to want to learn more based on just safety concepts of what's more likely to happen, which is nothing.
Yeah.
And then just looking for pre-fight indicators that give it more attention, and then escalate it from there. So they get dragged there most of the time.
Yeah.
And then I just tell the husband, like, listen, when she says, you're right, sorry, don't be like, boom, I told you so, just to say, it's, because it's one of those things where we're doing, as a fellow husband and a fellow dad, we learn collectively, and it takes a village.
Yeah.
And so that's my mission, is to help all those guys out there that want safety for their family, and the military approach, the law enforcement approach. Heraclitus, out of 100 people in battle.
Yeah.
Well, you have the 9 and the 1s trying to teach the 90.
Yeah.
And so the 90, it's not translating. So I am that bridge between those two, where it's like, listen, it's a softer approach. Yeah. That's why we've rebranded, and we can bring value to anyone. And we found that is the bridge for the Second Amendment through education. And I think that's our main goal with our 501c3 is to provide education for elected representatives so they can make educated decisions.
Yeah, yes, we see far too many elected representatives speaking publicly about firearms, and the second they open their mouth, it's very clear they have no idea what they're speaking. They're not talking about the right caliber. They're not talking about the right.
This is a ghost gun.
Yeah, and so it's almost embarrassing because I can't imagine being in their position and saying I'm going to go in front of a bunch of TV cameras and speak about something that I have no idea about, as if I do. So I think it would be a good place for a lot of them to expand their knowledge and their education. One of the things we get a lot of people, because where we're based out of in New York City and what's happened in some of these major cities, vehicle situations when you're in your vehicle with your family. What are some of the scenario training concepts that you put out there for families? Because that's a scary thing. We've seen the videos, the TikToks, the Instagram reels, where a family is in a car or a woman is in a car with her children, and then the mob surrounds the car, starts shaking it, starts breaking windows, things like that. Do you have something like that set up? I thought I saw a video of some kind,
Sure,
but I wasn't quite sure.
Sure. No, we have on our 20 acres, we have up to 7 different stations that when people come, we throttle to their skill set, meaning we have you fill out a registration, and based on what you want to learn and based on your expertise, we will break you up to people of your similar skill set. So you're not there with someone that's drinking from a fire hose or someone who's fallen asleep.
Okay.
Anti-carjacking is a really big thing nowadays, and the what if game is alive and well, and really depending on what state you live in, that's also added on the registration. So we customize the learning experience based on what state you live in, because the legality of the before, during, and after is tremendous, whether you live in Florida or New York City.
Yeah.
But being in a vehicle, so for example, transitional space, in Florida, it is your castle doctrine.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things people don't realize with a vehicle, the fact that you just can't jump in the car and just drive over someone.
Right. Right.
And just because they're banging on your car.
Right.
And the concepts, so people learn a lot of why to back into a parking space. Mm-hmm. And we show videos and we study nature on how to be hard targets, but we show videos of people that have not backed into their parking space, and then they have to leave, and someone might not want them to leave because of an altercation, and now they get in the way, and then the anti-collision kicks in, and then the car becomes immobile, and based on their training, they get out, and depending on their background.
Yeah.
And so that's the really cool thing about learning collectively and customizing the training. That the more you do this, the better you get, and the faster your reaction time comes when you're under stress.
Yeah.
So that is something that moving forward, vehicle training is critical. When someone comes to visit us for one day, we do safety scenario training, which is more like a low light situation with our flashlight to project our voice and be a hard target, keep awareness. And depending on what they want to learn, that's the first block. The second block will absolutely be either coffee shop, situational combatives, which is a little push danger away, spear, tactics, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu concepts, taking a little bit of learning you and then giving you what you need to get you to the next step.
Okay.
And then potentially coffee shop, why it's important to enter a place and know where all the exits are. And everything in this room can be used to defend yourself.
So a lot of people think weapons and they're thinking a firearm or maybe a blade. I know that in your training, you've incorporated some basic tools like a flashlight. You have a couple here. Can you expand upon that for maybe some of the people watching that might say, hey, I'm not a gun person. Well, I've seen some of the videos of what you've shown women to do with just a flashlight.
Yes.
So can you talk about that real quick?
Absolutely. Flashlights are something you can carry everywhere. Carry it on an airplane, carry it in a gun-free zone, carry it in school. And what I talk about is it's a roll of quarters at the very least. And you learning how to, with the proper illumination, it's something that can project your voice. So the timing and how you apply those safety concepts and the timing in which you do that is what helps make you safer in a potential scenario that could become a situation. So we use that at first to keep distance, and then as distance breaks down, amplify our voice. And the first weapon or the first tool is our mind to think critically and see something coming. But then the way I apply those concepts and the timing in which I do that, take that potential predator and say, I'm I'm going to wait for the next person that comes along. That's not something I want to mess with.
Yeah.
And so what we can learn from nature and apply from that as far as just pure predators, and that's something that we're not going to legislate away violence. It's going to happen. So we can keep it from happening to ourselves and our loved ones based on tools, which our first tool is to think, see something coming, avoid it altogether.
Right.
But then if that doesn't happen and it engages, that's where our custom training kicks in, that we start to customize the safety training based on what they already do. So that's the other thing that we do a little bit different is, number one, everyone watches everyone else. Because most of the time in military or law enforcement training, everyone waits outside, because if you watch his run, it'll ruin it for you when you come in, because they have 3 staged runs, because they got 50 people they have to get through today. We do a completely opposite, to where everyone gets to watch everyone else's run. So if you're in a group of 5 or 6 people, now you get 5 custom runs to you, but you get mentally another 20 runs watching how they apply the concepts. So that's the life-changing thing, that it's never the same. You'll never see the same thing twice, and that's just me. I'm very creative. That's my claim to fame, is that I'm very creative when it comes to scenarios, and I can throttle to you. I'm a good bad guy, so I react to you, what you're giving me real time in the scenario. And it's not a Halloween horror night, where in most places, due to liability in the military and law enforcement, a lot of places cannot go hands-on.
Yeah.
We can.
Okay.
So it takes that element of, I don't want a training scar. But then again, nothing might happen.
Yeah.
So when you walk in, it's not like, hey, something's going to happen. It's that gray area that we play in that starts to set the tone for what's more likely to happen is nothing.
Yeah.
And then how you react to that based on what you've seen before. And then, so if someone's with us for 3 days, we might be doing situational combatives after, which is blower, push danger away, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu concepts. I don't want to be on the ground, but if I need to fall to the ground, how do I fall without getting whiplash? How do I get up safely? Because I don't want to be in the sea and fight on the ground. So it's like that is, and it's not just me. I have a team of up to 20 to 30 other guest instructors that are with me. So it's not, Batman. It's Batman, where it's, you can't stop an idea.
Yeah.
So I have custom guys that are dedicated to each station, that are the leads in those stations. And I stay in my lane, which is situational, scenario training. And I'm very creative, and we come up with customizing it to you. But then you get the horsepower of another 15 to 20 other instructors, and that's where we get our unofficial nickname, which I won't talk about. And that is where we've been able to really influence people and provide safety for their family. So they come together, and the kids are off learning dirt medicine or stop the bleed or CPR or stranger danger. Mom might be learning firearm fundamentals because she wants to get an idea of, hey, we have a firearm in the house and you're not here, so I need to learn to be safer without it, with it. And then now you're learning something else, and then you all come together to apply those concepts you just learned together as a family.
Yeah.
And it's just, again, it's the best thing that I've experienced, and I want to take that, and that's my download from up above, is to share that, what we've learned through R&D over the last 12 years, and with your gear and your equipment, where they come to stress test that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to get into next, where you're looking at people coming in from all across the country. Obviously, so you have people flying in privately, people with high wealth, but you have also regular families coming in because they realize the importance of it. So maybe this year they're going to skip their trip to Disney that would cost them thousands of dollars, and they come to you.
Yes.
Explain a little bit about how it works. So do you have facilities on site for the families to stay, or do they have to stay nearby? How are families finding you primarily? So can you kind of, for those interested, run through that?
We're on year 13. The first 5 to 6 years, it was Fight Club. It was, because if I did not want to scale it if I couldn't keep the quality.
Yeah.
And we have suites that they can stay on property.
Okay.
We have, Hilton 5-star hotels within 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
And it's one of those things where right now it's been mainly word of mouth and by referral only. Like your friend Rob is like, hey, you gotta, hey. And it's like when you find something that's good, the value is there.
Yeah.
And so what we've done is it started off with 2-day classes, and then we moved it to 3-day classes. And that, because of logistics, because of travel, because of school, that might not be the best thing. So we actually do half-day stations where people might come to Orlando to hit the parks for that day,
Yeah.
or because of school or what have you, and they can come for a half a day or up to a day or 2 days. So they're learning blocks before lunch and after lunch.
Okay.
So it makes it easy and fun to come, and at least I tell everyone they should at least try this once.
Yeah.
Because it is an experience, and it helps reprogram. And again, some people might think they're a 7, but they're really a 2.
Yeah. Right.
And we see that a lot where they're a big fish in a little pond.
Yeah.
And when they come to us, they're like, listen, I'm a gun guy. Empty hand stuff or blades,
Yeah.
And it's like, what's really cool is that just having a buffet style where they can try things and try concepts, and potentially in their daily lives, it's like, I haven't wanted to get into blades, but now it's like, it makes sense. If I learn how to fight with one, I better learn how to defend against one. And so that's what we can do at our place, that based on your registration, based on the time, we customize your intro to safety concepts. And like I said, everyone wants safety. So my job as the husband and as just the village is to help everyone get their team, their family on the same page as them.
Yeah.
And again, a place where you can really try out the cool products that you sell.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the concept right out of the gate of training with your entire family. I've always liked that concept because I felt like, once again, it's like when I was a police officer training with my entire squad. I wanted to know that the guys that I was out there with on a nightly basis for 12 hours, we were all on the same page. We knew how each other moved. And you also learn people's weaknesses. So when people come there with their families, I'm sure in that short period of time, you learn some of your family's strengths and some of their weaknesses. What's one of the things that you see people, after they go through your program, maybe from a family unit standpoint, that they find most surprising?
Great question. We've had a lot of couples that are highly trained in their profession because of their past life experience, and they've trained in scenarios, but they've never trained together. And they've trained in scenarios, but they never trained together with their kids. And now all of a sudden, these are things where we have world champion experts come out, and when you add the family element of it, and when you add the kid element of it, all of a sudden it's like they're out of position. Or it's like dynamically, they've never experienced a truly custom learning experience. And again, that's my creativity, and I'm just blessed. And so it's I want what's best for you. So you're the hero in your own story, and with families, that is our mission, to help you in your family, that if something ever happens, have everyone on the same page, where we have siblings now that go, Dad, thank you so much. Now I know why it's important to get my little brother in the car. Now I know why what you and Mom are talking about when we're walking to the grocery store and you say, hey guys, hurry up, get in it. Now I see why, because they've got to watch Dad, and those mental reps, you're not missing any horsepower.
Yeah.
You could have a AA fuel dragster, but if you got go-kart tires, you can't transfer that energy to the ground.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like we make it comfortable to learn new things. And then when you want to stress test them later, great. But when you're learning something, we want it to be comfortable. So that's the whole purpose of our multi-million-dollar facility with covered ranges and all kinds of things, because we want to welcome them to come in. Because if you remember, everyone started someplace.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And it's intimidating to see, how do I get from here to there?
Yeah.
And so that's what we do, is we lay the groundwork and we make it fun and educational. So the family is now like, you're right, Dad. This is better than the real. Thanks. You're right, Dad. Sorry. Thank you. I gave you a hard time. Like, they drag them there, but then they don't want to leave.
Yeah. So give everyone a quick overview. You've dropped the little things here and there about the size of the property and things like that. Before we close, I want to give everyone a real rundown of the entire facility and what it has and what you offer.
We have the ability to train up to 42 VIPs in 6 different stations, 7 people per station on a daily basis. And that could be a family, that could be a team of a couple families. And before lunch, you learn one concept. After lunch, you apply that concept in another station. So it's just, we the Jurassic Park, spare no expense. We have the proper gear. We have the proper, we have spared no expense with your valuable time to give you the best possible experience. So all your magazines are loaded for you. All of your equipment is pre-positioned. You can literally just show up, and based on our partners with Sig Sauer and others, we can have everything ready for you, so you just show up. And so it's the mental reps, like I said, of the fact that not only do you get 5 runs, but you get 25 runs, because 20 mental, because you get to watch and learn from everybody else.
Right.
So the team building aspect of it is second to none. And the stations are set up for observation. So it's not like you're walking into a room and it's like, I'm not in this one, I'm not here, don't.
Yeah.
They're upstairs in a catwalk or behind Lexan that's tinted, so they're not in the way.
Oh, okay, got it.
So you can really role play, and we want to play pretend as real as possible with your valuable time. And we are built so that when your time is worth more than anything you would spend on training, that's why WOFT exists.
Yeah. Yeah. How many acres again is the total?
We're on 20 acres, and we're zoned in a certain zoning, and we're kind of a buffer from everyone else. So we're very good. It's just we selectively picked that location as we grew, and it's something that's private. So people come in, and no one ever knows they were there. Or people come in and they're influencers, and they want to document as a timestamp, like something that they want to share with their loved ones or their platforms.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of guys that have big followings that come in, and they're like, hey, this is another level of experience, and that's what makes them true professionals. Is they want to constantly improve. And when you walk into a room, they're like, so what should we do today? And you're going, I just want to focus on myself. So I take it on me that I want to be that blank white canvas that I can give you your paintbrush, and now bring in the ones you care about, your loved ones, your team, your staff. And if you have security, armed security, when's the last time you trained with them?
Yeah, right.
How do you know how they're going to react with you? They're just hiring and they're just there and they look good, but so we are that blank white canvas that we can, everyone from your loved ones to your personnel to your Christmas party of your business, to have a lot of fun. It's like, I don't do firearms. No problem. You can be doing dirt medicine. You can be doing stop the bleed over there. And it's like, you have firearms in your house. You should at least have some safety of how to load and unload properly and the 4 safety rules.
A baseline.
Baseline. And it's like, I don't want to do that. And it's like, no problem. You can just watch. Your spouse will learn by watching from you. Your kids will learn by watching from you, and then just wait. Because I'll say, would you like to try it? And once they see it, they'll be like, yeah, okay, it's just a flashlight. I mean, it's just, Yeah. So that is what we've discovered organically, and that's what I want for every husband and every dad out there, just a higher level experience.
That's awesome. Website for people to look up. We're going to put all the links below, but what's the website? WOFT.com. Okay.
WOFT, where our families train.
And for those probably wondering, the area, it's in that Orlando area, correct?
West Orlando, Central Florida. The most nonstop flights anywhere in the country is to Orlando.
So it doesn't get easier than that.
It doesn't get easier than that.
Okay. Phil, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing. We're going to put the links below, and we're also going to probably put this on the new training section of the 221B Tactical website. So when you're looking for training, you're coming to our website, you're buying the body armor, things like that, you're going to also see in the training section everything about WOFT. And you go to the website, you'll read all about Phil and all the incredible things they offer. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Those of you listening, thank you for listening. Phil, thank you again. We'll see you guys next time.